Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's time for another edition of No Capes, where I talk about comic books that don't have to do with superheroes. First up, we are going to talk about Bale, #1 from Dark Horse Comics. This is written by Greg Rucka and art by Tony Fajuzula. Yeah. Anyway, so basic premise we get from this first issue. This girl here suddenly wakes up in a seemingly abandoned or blocked off subway underground. First panel shows some somewhat occult type things. Then we get her waking up. There's rats. She seems to be kind of learning the language, like she doesn't really know what's going on, but she does. She's naked. She wanders up out of the subway, bending bars to get out like it's nothing. Gets up on the cityscape. It's kind of like some sleazier version of like Times Square kind of a deal. Obviously, there's plenty of lecherous men there to try and latch onto her because she's there and naked. She kind of gets rescued by a guy who seems a little more friendly, a little more concerned about her well-being, not just about being with her, and he takes her home. She's kind of psycho-babbling, parroting what other people are saying, like she's learning words and then saying other words that rhyme with those words throughout it. You get no idea really what she is. He asks what her name is. She says something like Vale, and then some guys that he kind of snatched her away from show up at his doorstep. They're pissed. They want a piece of her, because they found her first. Kind of stupid thing. They have guns. She forces things to happen, and people die, basically. Not her. And they're kind of on the run. That's the basic plot of the first story. There's not a lot there for us to go, ooh, serious hook, other than just being curious as to what she's about. Such as the art in it is really interesting. I've been trying to figure out what words I want to use to describe the art, and I think I'm going to go with basically it's kind of like a watercolor look, but it's like almost like it's impressionist type painting, because they're taking heavy shadows and highlights. Most panels, a person is a particular color, and everything about them is that color in it. I do like the art. The art is interesting. So I'm curious to see what goes on. Usually Rucka has a good payoff on his stories, I believe, so I think we're going to get more to come. I enjoyed the book. The art was interesting, like I said. But the art is interesting on it also. It's supposed to be a horror book, so we'll see what happens, right? It is 4 issues, I believe. So for 4 issues, I think worth a little bit of ride just to see what all it tells and what's going on. And so, pretty decent book, interesting art, definitely a different style. Oh, Trillium #7. One more issue and this is done. So you think this issue would be momentous, and it didn't really feel that way, unfortunately. There's some beautiful shots in the issue. There's some really cool scenes, but it's still yet another full issue of them running around trying to get back to each other. The only real added information we get out of this is that the pyramids really were a machine. The pyramids weren't anything themselves. It was hiding this machine that obviously ports them around. They do get back together. How does this end in one issue? I have no idea. And I've really been enjoying the book as a whole, but at this point I almost don't care. This felt like it could have ended here because they finally find each other again. So yeah, I mean, there's more of the gimmick of having to turn the book upside down, which is frustrating, and flipping the pages, what seemingly would be the wrong direction, but it's the right direction, that sort of thing. So that's unfortunate. And it's kind of unfortunate just where this went to so far. I mean, unless the next issue just has something in it that just wows me and then changes my mind about this issue and the issue before it, I feel like we've been spinning our wheels for a while here. and little payoff. This issue was better than the last issue, but still little payoff for these two issues. So that's kind of unfortunate. And about really all I have to say about Trillium. Oh, let's see. Revival number 18, wonderful creepy cover here. We get some information on this guy now. Dana Cypress does some more investigating to find out that this guy was the guy that he was actually being cremated at the time the revival happened. So literally he is at the funeral home, he's in the furnace being cooked down, and he reawakens, and it takes them a while to get the doors open to get him out, so he is horrifically burned and continuously burning, kind of thing. Pretty awesome there. Lots more questions. I enjoy this. I enjoy this thing because it's just so thick, it's so deep, it's got so much going on in it, so many questions, very few answers. I'm still continue to be okay with that. I just love all the stuff that's going on. It's so convoluted and complicated and interesting. There seems to be every issue there's more questions, and I'm okay with not really having solid answers, but it still continues to be a cool book. Emma, you know, is she pregnant? She keeps throwing up blood, and she's in this perpetual revival state. She makes out with the professor's wife that she had an affair with at one point. I'm not even sure what that's about. It's just really, really strange, but really interesting at the same time. I just love to see what's going on. Plus, we have this whole militia, anti-government thing that's starting to rise up, and the sheriff is busting those people's chops and kind of back and forth. Just interesting on a lot of levels. Really complex and just cool. Just cool. Always wanting to know what's going on. Always interested to see what's next with that book. And then next up is Lobster Johnson Gets Lobster, issue 2. As our reporter continues to investigate Lobster Johnson so she can write this expose. Lobster Johnson shows up and informs her that she really shouldn't, that it's not going to lead her to anything good except for dead ends. She proceeds to do some more poking around. We get this wonderful story about pirates and mystery births and wandering across the West during the time of the Civil War, and children who could turn into panthers, and all kinds of ridiculous folktale type stories that may potentially lead to Lobster Johnson. Of course, she doesn't believe any of it and throws it all away, basically, by the time she's done reading it, considering it a waste of time. So there's that, which is really interesting and really fun. And plus we got our main story where they're trying to figure out why these wrestlers have attacked a bunch of people. They caught alive the dwarf wrestler. They find out that he's actually got what seems to be a radio receiver inside of his brain, and how is that going to work, and what are they going to do with that? And Lobster Johnson has become public enemy number 1 after an incident with a grenade in the last issue. The police force have decided they're going to do everything they can to catch him, so now he is hunted, heavily hunted by the police. So he spends most of his time in this issue running from the police who are trying to kill him. Still really great, pulpy, great art, has that Hellboy universe feel to it, and in this case, you know, being set right before World War II, has a heavy pulp feel to it as in comparison to some of the other stuff that ventures into other things. Just really fun. I'm really curious to see where this whole, you know, Get the Lobster story goes. This is 2 of 5 for that. Great stuff. And that is it for my No Capes this time around. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the weeks to come to talk about more No Capes. Have a good one, everybody.